Imagine it's 2 a.m. You're lying awake in bed, staring at that one text from someone you just can't get off your mind. Your heart is racing over a few words on a screen. You keep reading it over and over, looking for some hidden meaning that probably isn't even there. You know you're overthinking it, but you keep doing it anyway, hoping something will change. Deep down in that loop, there's a question almost nobody asks. Did humans thousands of years ago fall in love the exact same way we do? Now, picture that same night back in the day. No phones, no screens, just a Neanderthal sitting by a fire, sweating in animal fur. He's trying to build up the courage to sit just a tiny bit closer to the person he likes. Same racing heart, same stupid nerves, same fear of saying the wrong thing and ruining the whole vibe. He has no clue what to say either. Some things just never change. That was a regular Tuesday for our ancestors. And here's the thing nobody really talks about. For a long time, scientists thought ancient humans couldn't even feel love. They pictured them just grunting, acting on pure survival, with zero romance or tenderness. But what if that whole story is completely wrong? By the end of this video, you'll never think about your last crush the same way again. Because that feeling you have, it might be older than farming, older than cities, older than money, borders, and history itself. Heck, it might even be older than language. Most folks assume that ancient humans didn't really fall in love. We all have that same image in our heads from old cartoons and bad movies. A caveman hits a woman over the head and drags her back to his cave by her hair. Pure survival, no feelings, just biology on autopilot. And for a long time, even scientists believed something pretty close to that. Early researchers figured that couples only stayed together for practical reasons. They thought two people stuck around just because raising a baby alone was basically impossible in a world full of wild animals. No butterflies in the stomach. No lying awake at night thinking about a conversation. Just cold math about survival odds and sharing food. But the real story turns out to be way crazier. And honestly, way more human. When scientists actually started digging into ancient graves, ancient bones, and ancient brain chemistry, they found something that looked a lot like love. Back in 2007, scientists near Mantua, Italy, found two human skeletons buried together about 6,000 years ago. Their arms were wrapped around each other. Even after all that time underground, their faces were still turned toward one another. Researchers ended up calling them the lovers of Valdaro. Just picture the exact moment someone lowered those two bodies into that small grave. They fixed the arms just right. They made sure the hands stayed locked together under the dirt, where no one would ever see them again. That's not an accident. That takes time, care, and real heartbreak. It was a choice made by people who wanted a final image to say something permanent about who these two were to each other. It's basically the ancient version of a couple picking the one photo they want to be remembered by forever. Except, this photo was carved into the earth instead of saved on a phone. The people who buried them could have just placed the bodies side by side, facing outward with their arms at their sides, which is how most burials from back then actually look. Instead, someone made a clear choice to lock them together, face to face, forever. But honestly, bones alone can't prove anyone actually felt love. Skeletons don't come with diaries, and grief can look a lot of different ways. So, what actually convinced scientists that this was real romance, and not just some weird burial custom from a culture we don't understand yet? That question sent scientists looking somewhere even crazier than graves, inside the human brain itself. A researcher named Helen Fisher scanned the brains of people who said they were deeply, hopelessly in love. Every single time, she found the exact same reward system lighting up. It didn't matter where the person came from, how old they were, or what their background was. She even found that same brain wiring active in small tribes today that still live without farms, cities, or modern technology. Their lifestyle is much closer to how our ancestors lived thousands of years ago, long before any of our modern comforts existed. The brain scans showed a huge rush of dopamine, the exact same chemical linked to addiction. It lit up in the very same spot that reacts to cocaine. And that's a big reason why new love can feel like an actual obsession, not just a nice feeling. You replay one conversation on a loop for hours. You check your phone every few minutes, hoping for a reply. You just can't focus on anything else, even things you really care about. Today, we call it having a crush or being love-struck. We even say we can't think straight. Back then, it was the exact same wiring, just a lot older. It was just aimed at someone sitting across a fire instead of someone texting from across town. But if the human brain has been wired for this feeling all along, did ancient love always look calm and sweet? Or did it come with something a lot messier than we think? Here's a fun thought. Your ancestors probably had just as many awkward first dates as you do. They just didn't have the easy option of ghosting someone and disappearing into a crowded city forever. Because falling for someone wasn't just happening inside the brain. It was also showing up in the things people chose to make and give to each other by hand. In a place called Blombos Cave in South Africa, scientists found tiny shell beads with holes drilled straight through them. These are about 75,000 years old. Imagine someone sitting by the fire, carefully drilling a hole into a tiny shell with a sharp stone, one slow scrape at a time. Then they put that shell on a string to wear it or give it away to someone special. That object is not a survival tool. You can't hunt with it. You can't eat it or use it to stay warm on a freezing night. It exists purely to be seen, to send a message about the person wearing it. And it might have existed for one simple reason: to catch the eye of that one special person. In the most literal sense, it's one of the oldest pieces of jewelry ever found on Earth. Today, someone buys a necklace or a bunch of flowers. Someone else picks out the perfect outfit before a first date, hoping to get noticed across a crowded room. 75,000 years ago, someone sat drilling patiently through a tiny shell for that exact same reason. The urge to dress up and try just a little harder for one specific person is nothing new. It's not some clever trick made up by fashion brands or ad companies. It might honestly be one of the oldest habits our entire species has ever practiced. But here's what changes everything about this whole story. All of it. The graves, the brain scans, and the tiny shell beads points to one major reason why love even exists at all. Human babies are born completely helpless. Their brains are too big, and their bodies are way too weak to survive on their own for years after they're born. Raising a kid like that took two committed adults, staying together way longer than most animals ever bother to. Evolution needed a glue, strong enough to hold two people together through years of exhaustion, hunger, and real danger. And that glue became the exact feeling we now call love. The shell necklace wasn't just decoration made to look pretty. It was a strategy. It was a quiet way of saying, "Choose me," in a species that desperately needed people to choose each other and then actually stay. The lovers of Valdaro weren't just sweet to each other for no reason. They were living proof of the exact system evolution built. That system exists to keep two people bonded long enough for one slow-growing, helpless child to finally make it on its own. So, the next time your heart races over a single text, understand what's actually happening underneath it. The same goes for when you just can't stop thinking about someone new. You're not experiencing some modern invention made up by poets, love songs, or greeting card companies trying to sell you something. You are running a survival program. It's older than farming, older than the wheel, older than the very idea of a city with walls, streets, and laws. Somewhere in a cave lit only by firelight, someone felt this exact same racing heart. They were terrified of losing that person to the cold, to a rival, or to nothing at all. They had no word for romance, no rings, no vows, no music written for this feeling. They only had the feeling itself, raw and completely unnamed. And that feeling alone was still enough to shape the entire future of our species. Every love story since then is just an echo of something way older than it looks. Every anxious text you've ever sent is an echo of it. Every hand held a little too long at the end of the night is an echo of it too. So is every nervous joke you've ever told someone just to see if they'd laugh and stay a little longer. Love didn't wait around for civilization to show up and give it permission to exist. Love built the foundation civilization was raised on, stone by stone. It is, and always has been, older than civilization itself. So, here's a question for you. If you traveled back 75,000 years, do you think you'd still fall for the same kind of person? Would you still get nervous and still drill a tiny shell just to catch their eye? Tell me what you think in the comments below.